Inflation can happen at any time, but most people don't understand the true reasoning behind it. In this video, I will explain the root of inflation. Let's get started. The truth is that inflation can be started by a lot of factors. The most basic principle behind inflation is supply and demand. If the supply drops, prices will start rising to match the demand of the market, which results in inflation. Supply drops can happen sometimes because of war, like the war in Iran or invasion of Ukraine, sometimes because of disease like COVID-19, or sometimes because businesses or producers simply change or act differently. Another big reason is that wages and prices counter each other. When prices increase, people will be crying out for higher wages. If companies do give this increase, companies themselves have to get money, so they increase prices. This causes another demand for a raise, which is the cause of the wage price spiral. One of the biggest factors is that in between producing and purchasing, something that transfers the product increases in price. To explain, oil prices can rise as shown in recent history. Shipping costs, labor prices, electricity rates, and even things used to produce like maintenance, machinery, and fertilizer can all result in inflation. Now to visualize all of this, imagine 4 dogs running a tiny economy called Barkville. They all sell and buy bones. The dogs are Biscuit, a golden retriever who digs up bones, the producer; Pickles, a corgi who buys lots of bones, the consumer; Sir Fluffington, a poodle who runs the bone bank; Tank, a German shepherd who drives the bone delivery truck. Here's how each can accidentally start inflation. Scenario 1. Pickles gets rich overnight. Demand increases. One day, Pickles wins the Barkville Bone Lottery. Yesterday, Biscuit had 100 bones. Pickles wanted 10 bones. Today, Pickles wants 40 bones. Biscuit still only dug up 100 bones. Other dogs also want bones. Pickles yells, "I'll pay 3 treats for a bone." Another dog barks, "I'll pay 4 treats." Soon, every bone costs more. Nothing changed about digging up bones. The buyers simply had more money and competed against each other. Inflation started because demand increased. Scenario 2. Tank's truck breaks. Supply decreases. Tank accidentally backs his delivery truck into a fire hydrant. Now only half the bones reach town. Biscuit still dug up 100 bones. Only 50 arrive at the market. Every dog wants one. Dogs start bidding. Price goes up. Nobody got richer. There are simply fewer bones. Inflation started because supply fell. Scenario 3. Tank's fuel becomes expensive. Costs rise. Tank's truck normally runs on premium bacon grease. Unfortunately, bacon grease becomes really expensive. Tank tells Biscuit, "Sorry, the price of bacon grease just doubled." Biscuit says, "That means higher bone prices." Soon, prices go up. Nothing changed about digging up bones or delivering them. Tank has to charge more to cover the extra costs. Inflation started because costs rose. So, you see, inflation happens when demand increases, supply decreases, or costs rise unexpectedly. It's a chain reaction between producers, consumers, and the hidden costs that make the economy tick. Delivering bones now costs twice as much. Biscuit says, "Well, I have to charge more." The pet store also charges more. Eventually, Pickles pays more. The bones themselves aren't better. They're just more expensive to get to customers. Inflation started because production costs increased. Scenario 4. Sir Fluffington lends everyone treats. Money and credit expand. Sir Fluffington owns the bone bank. Normally, he lends each dog 10 treats. One day he says, "Everybody gets 100 treats. No questions asked." Now every dog is rich. Unfortunately, Biscuit still dug up only 100 bones. Now every dog has pockets full of treats. Chaos. Dogs start yelling, 5 treats, 10 treats, 20 treats. The bones didn't become more valuable. The treats became less scarce. Inflation started because there was much more money available than there were goods to buy. Barkville's lesson. Inflation doesn't usually begin because Biscuit wakes up and says, "Hee, bones are $50 now." It begins because something changes first. Pickle suddenly wants more bones, higher demand. Tank can't deliver enough bones, lower supply. Tank's delivery costs rise, higher production costs. Sir Fluffington floods the town with treats, more money and credit. Then Biscuit notices dogs are willing or forced to pay more, so the price goes up. In other words, inflation is usually the result of an imbalance: too much spending power, too few goods, higher costs, or a rapid expansion of money and credit. The dogs are just responding to those changes, one wagging tail at a time. So, for a summary, inflation begins when the balance between how much people can spend and how many goods and services are available gets out of sync. It doesn't usually start because producers randomly decide to charge more. Instead, one of four things typically happens first. Demand increases. People have more money or credit and compete for the same goods. Supply decreases. There are fewer goods available due to events like droughts, wars, or factory shutdowns. Production costs rise, such as higher fuel, labor, transportation, or material costs, where the money supply and credit expand faster than the economy's ability to produce goods and services. Businesses then respond by raising prices because customers are willing or need to keep buying. Once prices begin rising, inflation can spread through the economy. Higher costs in one industry, like fuel, ripple into others such as shipping and groceries, and workers may seek higher wages to keep up with rising living costs. Businesses may then increase prices again to cover those wages, creating a cycle that can sustain inflation. Some companies may also raise prices more than their costs increase if consumers already expect inflation and continue buying. In short, inflation is usually triggered by an underlying economic imbalance, not by products like vegetables suddenly becoming more expensive on their own. So when you hear the words inflation, think about this video.